Hi, Lisa Goldberg here. I just wanted to stop in and say hello and spend some time with you today and share with you some of the conversations that have been coming up with clients, with potential clients over the last few days. Because if you've been in my community for a little while, you know that I coach on habit, behavior, and mindset change for sustainable weight loss. Because I truly believe that those are the things that never change every time somebody embarks on a new diet. They change the food, and if you comply to any diet plan, you're going to lose the weight. But if you don't change the habits and behaviors and your relationship with food and the reasons why you eat when you're not hungry, the weight eventually just comes back. And that's where the struggle lies. That's why you could lose 5 pounds, 20 pounds, 100 pounds. I've worked with people who have lost, 20, 30, 40, 50 pounds 2 or 3 times in the course of their lifetime. But they only change the food. And when they lose the weight, in their mind, they think, yay, I'm done. I've reached my goal. And then inevitably, they go back to their old habits and behaviors and way of thinking that got them to gain the weight in the first place. So what I want to share with you today is to kind of really look at the bigger picture as to, if this is you, why does this happen? And one of the main reasons why it happens is your conditioning as a child. What was food like for you growing up? Was food scarce? Was food restricted? Did you have to clean your plate as a child? Did you have dessert every single night after dinner? And now you feel like you need to have something sweet after every single meal, or maybe just after dinner? What was your conditioning like? So that's a really big piece of the puzzle to see, what's your relationship with food and why do you do the things that you do? Another big thing to look at is, what are your habits and behaviors around food? Do you go the whole entire day without eating and then eat one big meal at night? Do you do perfectly fine throughout the day and then after dinner you go off the rails? Do you always eat when you're not hungry? Are you always thinking about food? What are your habits? Do you mindlessly eat? What are those habits that you might not even be paying attention to? And then another component to look at is your self-talk. What do you say to yourself? When you go to eat and you're not hungry, what is the messaging that you're giving to yourself? What are the reasons that you're using to justify why you're eating when you're not hungry? What happens to you when you're triggered? Because when we're triggered, we actually feel something in our body. Something happens. We have an experience, whether it's an experience with a person, it's a particular place, it's a particular time of day. Something triggers us to all of a sudden think about wanting or feeling like eating, but that feeling isn't hunger. What is that for you? What do you tell yourself in those moments? Do you find that voice in your head saying, I don't care, I want it? Or I'll worry about it tomorrow? Or, I don't, you just don't care. Like right now, the only thing that's important to you is the food, and you don't even give a second thought to what your real goals and dreams, or even if you've been on a weight loss journey, you don't even connect to the work that you've been doing in that moment. So these are the bigger things that you need to look at every time you go on a diet and you want to lose weight, because this is the stuff that really needs to change. And this is where the work comes in. This is why it's so hard. This is the stuff that you really need to put your mental energy into changing, because once you have the ability to change that, and you change your behaviors and you change your habits and your way of thinking and your way of being around food and eating, then you don't use the food to distract from your feelings. You stop and you're more mindful about eating when you're not hungry. You stay connected to your goals and your dreams and your desires. And you actually learn to choose you over the food. And every time you learn to choose you over the food, you get closer and closer to your goal. And that's what I teach my clients about not being on a diet. I teach them how to eat whole, healthy, unprocessed foods and how to feed and fuel their bodies. But feed their bodies to fuel their bodies, not to douse their emotions. And once you learn how to do this, and every time you choose you over the food, you're making better decisions. And what happens over the course of time is you're just starting to consume less food and the weight loss feels easy. So the motto in my work is slow and steady wins the race, because this is a journey. It's a process of change. And if any of this sounds like you, and you struggle with emotional eating or yo-yo dieting, or you know there's some of that inside stuff that really needs to change, well, then I invite you to a complimentary call with me to kind of dig a little deeper to see how I can help support you in creating those changes. Just go to speakwithlisa.com, go to my calendar, and find a time. If you can find a time, you could just email me directly at lisa@lisagoldbergnutrition.com and just say, I need some help digging down deep and getting some support to change. So I hope you found this helpful. I hope it allowed you to see what really needs to change for you. That's more than just the food. And I really thank you, and I am so grateful to have you as part of my community. And I wish you the best of the rest of the day.